Jessy.
Oh my God, Thiago, what's going
It
on?
worked, but I don't hear you.
Wait, you can't hear me? I can hear
Oh, I can hear you
you.
better now. Hold on. Phone in my ear.
Oh,
Okay.
wait, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well now.
Yes. Okay, we got it. Finally. Whew. uh, so what is up?
Why not?
Well, you know what I'm doing over here. We just had a 45-minute conversation about all kinds of things.
We did. We did.
Yeah,
But we're going to be talking about the 12-12-12 moon tonight.
right.
So do you want to say what that means? You want me to go ahead and say it?
I mean, maybe you should give an intro into like the basic of what it is.
All right. So basically from the new moon, December 12th, is one of the biggest moons in alignment with the planets Uranus,
I can't.
Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and what?
That's the first one you had to say, right?
Of course, of course. Well, December is 12, the day is 12, and 2019, if you add up 2019, it comes up to 12. So it's 12, 12, 12, right?
Which
So,
also comes down to 333, but that's a whole nother story.
oh, tell me about it.
Well, that shit is like manifestation powerhouse because then you have three threes. You have like the power of 3 times 3, which is kind of creepy because it's like kind of like, you know what I'm saying? 666, all that. Um,
Ah,
yeah, but you know, it's just gonna be a really full moon.
which is great. I mean, it's great. I think it's pretty awesome because from what I researched, this has not happened since 1282. So it's been
Whoa,
700 years since we've seen all these planets in the same house.
alignment.
Yeah, alignment.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's quite crazy. And they say that this is going to be a great moon for you to um, expend into for not forgiveness, but like letting things go. Letting your past go, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if you want to not rebirth yourself, but I don't know, kind of let go of past things are haunting you in a way.
Oh yeah, that's always going on.
Yeah.
Oh my God, do you know that crazy lady who was trying to, she's not crazy, that's not nice, but like do you know Marianne Williamson?
No, who is she?
She just ran for president. I don't know if she's still running or
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
what's the
yeah. Oh, yeah,
deal.
yeah, yeah. I know who she is. I know exactly who you're talking
She's
about.
the spiritual one.
Yeah, she's the batshit crazy. Oh, the batshit
She's
special.
not, listen, she has some interesting points. It is crazy how, just where she came from. But let's just talk about with like Oprah and all that. I'm like, I don't know, billionaires is just like a whole nother story.
But I
But
didn't follow her enough. So what is it exactly that she was talking about? That because I heard about her,
she
and
has this thing and she was like on YouTube. You could find it, like her talking to people about like this thing called A Course in Miracles,
okay.
not Spawn.
Oh my god.
But she
Oh Jesus Christ.
not fucking Spawn. Because it's just like really religious. But at the same time, the affirmation, it's like a 365-day workshop and you do one affirmation a day. And the one for today was I only see the past
That's interesting.
in things. So like when you're looking at something, you think about I only see the past in things and like sort of just like feel through that affirmation and like recognize how that could be true.
Hmm. Yeah, and well, no wonder she dropped out of the race.
Yeah, she got other shit to do. She got this new moon coming up or this full moon.
Exactly. She's probably working on that right now as we speak.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's a much better.
Approach to things.
Yeah, you can do more that way if you can. Then do it. Um,
So tell me, what what
Yeah.
what research, what did you learn from this? Because basically what we're trying to do is a podcast on spiritual growth, because we're both learning, and as
Yeah,
we learn, we want to
absolutely.
discuss about it, talk about it, so we can learn
Yeah.
from each other, and other people who have questions about it can kind of, send us a feedback, so we can kind of
Oh.
research it, right?
Oh.
Yeah, so we can kind of
Okay.
research and talk about it. So I think this is our first podcast.
Well. Mhm.
Hmm. Yes, Jesse J.
I didn't. To be honest, Jessie J didn't do her research.
Well, Jesse J is doing really well for the first podcast, but I
Oh
did do my
shit!
research. I was
I know you
multitasking. I
did.
was
I know you
multitasking, but I
did.
took notes like a good boy that I am. Uh, so
You did it.
basically, it is a moon in Gemini, which Gemini
Okay.
is a constant change, constant. Obviously, any Gemini that you would know, they cannot stand still. They're always doing something new. So it's a moon about change and changes in your life, and
Right.
mutation, if you want to call it. But then the lineup is building in Capricorn, which is an earth sign, right? So it's more grounded. It's more, like every earth sign there is, they're more
Right.
about security. Let's put it that way. So,
Okay.
but all these
Oh.
alignments
So
throughout
it's
all these
right.
years have been in earth signs. That's why since 1981 to now, the alignment has been on with earth signs, so it's more about power
Right.
and all of that
Materiality.
exactly. And when you shift that into an air sign, it kind of changes the perspective a little bit.
That's interesting. I feel like that could bring positive or chaotic energy into the mix because, like, once you get into the earth and you get into like power numbers, I mean, I guess it depends on what you're doing with your life, basically. But like the 3 3 3 12 12 12, that, there's just like, it's a lot. It's going to be a lot. I feel like I've talked to other people and they've been telling me the same exact thing. It's like feel like something in the air. You know what I'm saying?
Right. There's a big change about to come. I feel like, well, from what I've talked before, remember the world was supposed to end in December 2012. Everybody was talking
Terrence
about
McKenna. Yep.
They were talking about the end of the world. Well, the world ended, but a big no. Well, we
Absolutely.
were all alive. But I'm saying a
Absolutely.
female presence came into the world then. He ended where, I don't know if you noticed, but there has been a big change from people since 2012 to today. The Me Too movement, women coming and speaking
Right.
their
Yeah.
voice, and chaotic things. Racist people they've always been out there. They've always been there, but they've always been closeted. They've been a closeted society that were racist but didn't talk about it. And
Right.
the Cheeto
Or
men,
they did openly back in the day, but like
they did, but
in the modern 21st century, yeah.
like with everything, if you don't address it, if you just shut people up, they will come back again and stronger than ever. And I think that's what happened. It had to happen. People had to be quiet about it, and now that they're so vocal about it, I feel like people are fighting them where it hurts. You are racist. You need to stop doing this. You need to understand people.
Right.
I
It's a lot of clapping.
Exactly. Oh
Just
my
clap
God.
back.
Clap
Clap
back,
back.
clap back.
Hashtag
Uh-huh.
clap back.
Clap back, girl. Clap back. No, seriously, I feel like it was never addressed. The racism, the homophobia was never addressed before. And now that it came back to life, and then people felt like it was okay for a certain amount of time to be that
Right.
way, we were able to hit it, you know, to get to
Yeah.
make people stop. And I feel like it was a spiritual progression, I think, in many ways.
Yeah. And now it's still happening and we're still continuing to make people stop because you see all these protests and like everyone's just,
Right.
everyone's up and about getting their fucking rights back and getting all their shit together. So I don't know.
Exactly, but I feel like since it was brought to light, now we were able to fight those homophobic and those racist people and confront them and be like, listen, you are a pile of, you know, doo doo. You know, you can't
Yeah,
act
you
this
smell
way.
funny.
You
You
smell
smell
funny.
funny.
You're not welcome in this
Hmm.
household. But yeah, so I feel like it's one of
But
those
I
things,
think,
you know.
yeah. But also, I mean, talking about like spiritual growth and all that, like I don't know. I'm just like, I don't condone it. I don't put myself in the company of people who I feel have harbor those beliefs and
Hmm.
those racist thoughts.
Hmm.
But
Neither should you
what
should.
if it's your father? What if it's your mother? What if it's your cousin? What if it's your somebody? You know, you cut them off, right? Like you have to cut them off emotionally, but at the same time, like you want to help people, and like we all want to evolve and get to a higher level where we can do this together. And I'm just like, if you tell them, you know, go to an island, send everybody, you know, send everybody who has these beliefs to an island, get rid of them. I don't know. Isn't that the mass? That's like, I mean, that's a completely different issue, but it's just like, it's not working. It's
Well,
not
I
working.
just feel like there are ways to get through to people. Doesn't matter how stubborn they are. If you know your parents, you know their
Right.
weaknesses, you know their strengths. And I think when you just cut them out of your life like that, I think it's your ego speaking, right? When
Right.
when you come from your inner self, we don't have that ego side of us that just wants to cut people off. We want to educate them. So all you have to do is try to educate them. If they don't want to listen, that's when you take it to other measures, which is cutting them off or detaching yourself
Right.
from them or writing them a letter. I feel like we
Ooh.
get through people more by writing them a letter than speaking
Wow.
to them, right?
That's big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when you write a letter, they don't have the chance to shut you up. You're saying
Yeah.
everything that you feel, so they don't feel attacked. I feel like
Right.
when you talk to somebody, they expect it to sound a certain way, to be abrasive in a certain way or not,
Right.
so they come at you, you know. That happened with my mom once. I mean, she was fine with me being gay. That wasn't a problem. The problem was when I was in a long relationship, she didn't like the person, and it kind of, I don't know, she wouldn't listen to me. She always treated me as if I were 12 years old, so it was hard to get through to
Right.
her. So the
Right.
only way I was able to get through my mother and for her to hear how hurt I was to write
Okay.
her a letter. And I wrote her a long letter and I explained how I
Wow.
felt and how I felt at one point how she might have neglected me and certain things,
Shit.
and things changed
Right.
after that.
Right. Wow.
So yeah.
How? How did they change?
She understood where I was coming from because if I tried to talk to her one on one, she would come at me. My mom is one of
Right.
those people that she has
What's her sign? What's her sign?
she's a Leo. She's a Leo.
Okay. Okay.
And she's very, how she wants it, and there's no talking to her. But after I wrote her that letter, she listens to me now. We have conversations like I'm having with you now about spirituality and things like that. So I feel like there are ways to get through to people. You shouldn't give up just because you tried once, you know?
Right. Yeah. No, you have to persevere. It's like, I don't know. Some people say people can't change. I want to believe that people can change and that there's a way we could do this together and not, you know, fight each other because that's the ultimate goal, right? It's just to live in peace. However, it's a complicated subject and it requires um, a lot of thinking and a lot of doing.
Well, I feel like people can change to certain views that they have in their lives, but in their core, they're always going to be the same people. If there are things about them that is just not ignorance, it's just like who they are. I think it's hard for them to change. I feel after a certain age, at
Right.
least.
Right.
You
But
know,
you still don't want to excuse it because it's like these people get into positions of power and then you end up like it's like people let them get there because they were just like, oh, Uncle Jeff, like he just says that stuff. You don't have to worry about it. And it's like, well, no, because like it may not affect me and it may not hurt me, but what if there's someone else in the room that, you know, is hurt by that and maybe is even just like doesn't want to speak up
that's when you have
because
to educate them. You have to put them in their place, not in front of people, but you call them to the side. Like I had this instance in
right.
my party this past Saturday. I told you about. That was a comment made to somebody who was here, which was not nice. I reached out to
About what?
About somebody who was here in the party. He was just saying that he wasn't his type. I told you this earlier today, didn't I?
Oh, hell no. Was
Yeah.
it? Okay. Okay.
So I reached out. Well, he's not really my friend, but I reached out to my friend
Right.
who's friends with him, and I was like, "Listen, you have to check your friend. Your friend can be doing shit. I don't know if he's bad shit drunk or crazy or whatever the hell is going on in his life. That's not an excuse. And
Wow.
you have to put people in their place, not in front of other people, because it becomes this whole battle thing. But you should call them
Right.
up, call them out on this shit. But like, listen, you can't
Yeah.
be doing that. You can't be talking to people like that, and you cannot act this way. It's not acceptable. You know.
That's really cool that you did that though, that because you were also like hosting, so you didn't
Right.
want to. I mean, but the thing is, like, I don't know. It's like, what is the right time? What is the right place? Maybe you're right. Maybe write people a letter and.
I think it's more hurtful for the person who receives that criticism if you do that in front of them because he eggs them on a little bit.
Right.
It makes it worse, and you're not gonna get anywhere with somebody who's drunk, anyways. So you might as well, and he's not my friend really. So,
Right.
I can't just be like, hey, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Right. And it's like your place, and you don't want to like be like, you
Exactly.
don't want to be crazy. So,
Exactly. So sometimes you gotta
wow.
go the other route, but another route. But yeah. So that's what I'm saying. There are ways to get through to people. You just have to figure out which way is best. But I think the world is coming. I mean, even though everything is chaotic right now, I mean, politics is all messed up all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
It started here with Cheeto Man, and then
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm.
it's in other countries now because I guess he created a momentum. And I feel like it, even though
Yep.
feels like things are going and for the worst, but it's actually, I think it's for the best because I think there's going to be a cleanse. I think it's going to be a
Ooh.
cleanse.
Detox.
Detox politicians, detox all of them, because we don't want to repeat that. I mean, there's a lot like like people say, with you have to have the what is the saying that goes like without a storm there's no sunshine or some shit like that.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I'm
There's no
talking about?
rainbow. Without the rain, there's no rainbow.
Some shit like
Right?
that. Yeah, some
Yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah.
So what else did you find out about this 12-12 moon, 12-12-12 moon?
Well, I just know about full moons in general. I can talk about how they are the completion of the cycle and how if you have been manifesting, or which we all do consciously or subconsciously, that whatever you've been working on is going to become emotionally heightened during the full moon. So people, emotions and stakes are going to be high. People might you're going to feel extra sensitive to other people, eye contact. And that's just always what it is with the full moon. Like it really depends on the astrological configuration. And, I don't know much about the whole Uranus situation, so I can't really speak on
Are you sure about that one?
it. Well,
Oh,
JK.
well, for those
Jesse,
Jesse
Jesse,
J, Jesse J. Uh,
Jesse doesn't just. Wow.
anyways,
Okay.
listen. For those who are skeptical people, the moon is the reasons why we have waves in the ocean, right? So the moon has a lot of scientific
Hmm.
proven, you know,
Weight over molecules and all that.
exactly. So why, we tend to only believe what science says. If science says this, we go, oh my God, yeah, that exists. But if we don't hear from the scientists, then we
Right.
don't believe in it. But
If they didn't write you a
obviously,
letter.
yeah, exactly. But I feel like the zodiac signs are so. I mean, obviously we have different houses and all of that where it shapes us, and obviously the way we grow up, it shapes us in a different way. But to the core, I've experienced this. A Leo has those type of qualities: a Virgo, a Libra, a Scorpio, a Sagittarius. All those signs act a certain way based on their sun sign. But
Right.
But I don't know. Some skeptics will be like, "Oh, well, you believe in that? It's fairy tale." No, it's actually more science than anything else, I would say.
Right. It's like it's science and art, right? You have
Exactly.
everything together, and it's
Exactly.
like we don't know. We don't know why certain things happen. We don't know why we hold certain beliefs and why certain beliefs have been around for so long and people still believe in them. Um, so it's yeah, it's a lot.
It's interesting, and I'm a believer because as a child I used to see ghosts, and not ghosts like boo, but I used to see people who weren't there, you know. I used to hear people calling my name, which I don't hear anymore, and be like, "Oh, you were a child. You're probably imagining things." No, I was a child, but I remember things that happened that
Right.
were in physical form and things that were not in physical form, and I can tell you the exact same thing. You felt real, and I can tell you for sure that I do believe that because of that.
And
Uh,
so many people have had that experience. Like so many
exactly.
people share this, and there's a community of people, whether they're accepted by mainstream or not. I
Hmm.
think people understand what it means to have a spiritual experience on a personal level.
Hmm.
And that I feel like that changes the game a little bit because then it's like, all right, well, if we don't know as much as we think we know, then, what do you believe? What do you choose to believe at that point?
Exactly. Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. It's just like people tend to just believe what they see, and like Wi-Fi, for example, we don't see it, but it's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So same
Yeah.
thing with dust. I mean, we see it when the sun beams into it, but do we really see it for just sitting in the room? But meanwhile, there are thousands of particles just flying around. We don't see it. So those people only believe what they see. And the quantum theory, it's very complex for well, some humans, obviously the smart ones can understand it, but the normal person who probably didn't study it will be mind blown over.
Right.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know that there is something out there. I feel it. Sometimes I'm by myself, and then the hairs of my body just I get this goosebump out of nowhere, and I can feel somebody there. I can
Mm-hmm.
feel that presence there, and it's not. Oh, I'm cold or I'm hot or it's not. It's just it's a different feeling, and the more you tap into it, I feel like the more you're able to understand how things work. And if you really
Right.
are interested in finding out about it, I think not you, I mean like whoever's listening, if anybody is,
Probably not.
not at this time, but when we upload it, hopefully they will.
Zero
Um,
listeners.
Zero listeners, maybe one.
Hopefully.
My mother. um, but I don't know. I feel like this is a great ritual for people to do. I think it's the end of this decade. There's a lot of crazy things going on in the world, and I think we are in a time that we are shifting energy. Like I said, 2012 was the end of the world, but a
Mm-hmm.
spiritual world, not the actual material end of bombs and whatever the hell, not that kind of,
Right.
end.
Whoa.
Right. So it was more of a spiritual end and a beginning of the female energy coming to this earth. And I feel like a lot of things have shifted since.
I'm ready. I'm definitely ready for some feminine energy to be passed around because this is not cute. Whatever this male dominated situation we've been dealing with, all this war and all of this like bullshit,
But that
I'm
is but
done.
that is the female energy, though. It started in 2012. It came to change the world. That's what I'm saying. Like the
Yes.
men were dominating the world until
Yes.
men. And did you notice that gay rights started? I mean, marriage got became legal in 2014, and women
Mm.
started being more empowered, and things were coming to surface after
Yeah.
2012. I feel like a
Yes.
lot has changed. So
Since then, yeah, I agree. I agree. The conversation has definitely shifted and it's a lot more open, especially now with the internet. We've had it for quite some time now, right?
hmm
Although I guess, yeah. But wait, did they have it when you were a kid?
the internet,
Uh-huh.
since I was about 7, 8.
Oh wow.
or maybe earlier.
Okay.
No, they've had the internet since the 80s, but people didn't have it in their homes. They started having their homes in like 91.
Right.
But
Okay.
I grew up, my parents had money, so I had it since I was young. So I don't know the
Oh, there
norm
you go.
with that, but I don't know the
Boom.
normal person. I mean, I don't know if, like I had a cell phone since I was 13 years old, but most kids didn't, my age, didn't get a
Right.
phone till they were 18, 20. So I don't know.
Right. Right. Right.
I don't know.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
just, well, I'm asking more so because like I grew up on the internet. So like since I was basically a child, like all my interactions had to do with this open network on the internet and this open conversation. Um, and it's different because before we just had like, people to talk to. We had we had like the news, which we still have, but no one watches, right?
Yeah.
Like you go on the internet to get your news. So I don't know. It's just a different time. We have a lot going on right now, and culture seems to be growing at the same rate as like technology, which is an insane amount in a very short period of time.
Oh, definitely. Social media
So
and
it's
all of that.
exciting.
I mean, when I was 11, I used to go to chat rooms to meet people. AOL and Irk was another one. But yeah, I used to go to chat room when I was about 10, 11. ICQ was another one. Uh,
ICQ, MSN,
MSN,
Hotmail,
yeah, all of
Yahoo,
that. Yeah, since I was
Yahoo
11.
Chat.
Yahoo Chat.
Yes.
I had my own homepage when I
Uh
was 11. So
oh.
I started the internet pretty young. I
Shit.
mean, I used to go meet people in chat rooms when I was 14, 15 to go actually out and meet them.
Meet them at the mall, right?
The
Oh,
parking
like I was.
lot, the parking lot.
See, wait, what?
Just to make
Damn. I mean,
out.
oh yeah, no, I'm not judging you. Listen, I've been caught behind a fucking dumpster before, but
Oh, that's great.
when I was like that at that time, yeah, because you're on MySpace and you're like, wow, you like queer teens with the internet are really liberated to do things that older generations of gays never had. Maybe they had personal ads and things like that, but like you could connect to a single individual based on their profile, right, on the internet, and you could become
Right,
friends with them.
right,
And
right.
that's how I met all my friends was on MySpace. I didn't
MySpace.
have any
Oh, those were the
friends.
days. The
Yes.
the HTML coding and the music. It was awesome.
And you know what? I get like, nowadays I do that for a job. I code and stuff and make and do the stuff I was doing on MySpace, and I'm making a living doing things that people said, it's like not going to work out because it's just like, what is the internet? And people didn't understand it back then, and look where we are today. Now the internet is like everything. Everybody's connected to their phone 24/7.
Whoever said that was a dumbass because the internet was
People
everything.
did. No,
No,
people, my parents, they would be like, why are you always on the computer? You're just like playing games. You're wasting your time. You're not doing anything, because they just see you looking at a screen, but they don't understand that you're connecting to other people. You're making art. You're researching topics. Yes, you're now it's more so about entertainment, I would say.
hmm
Like Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that. But back then it was just talking to people and like sending each other photos and looking at articles together and making music together and drawing on live chats, and then posting your stuff online for people to see and appreciate.
right. That's why I think our generation, I'm well, just for people to know, I'm from '84, so I'm the early millennial. You are the mid millennial, '91. I feel like our generation as millennials is a little bit different in terms of knowing the internet. So you used to go to MySpace, you used to talk to people in
Right.
chat rooms. Now it's Instagram, taking photos and having followers, and it's all about creating
It's
this
horrible.
life that does not exist. I mean, I know this friend of mine. She's like taking photos of this very expensive places and everything, and I just can tell that she doesn't have that lifestyle. It's like this facade
Right.
that people put
It's
up.
all make believe. It's all just a filter.
Yeah, so that's the different generation. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Gen Z, whatever they call it, the
They're just
iGen.
fucking. They're playing Minecraft, and they're
Yeah,
they're connected. They're connected from the time they're born. Some of these babies learn how to swipe before they learn how to
they
friggin'
do.
walk.
They do. They do. It's crazy. Well, a lot of things have changed, but I think it's for the. I don't know. Maybe we needed this. Maybe this is going to become the norm. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. And I think good things are coming from it too, because at least I can only speak for like the Gen Z person in my life, which is my nephew, that he seems to have more attitude of acceptance, and they
Yeah,
don't have that rigid sort of like mentality that we had to grow up with, where it was like still this transitionary period and it was like all this crazy shit. Like, I don't know. They seem to have it a little bit
easier,
like
more accepting.
easier mentally, just like more breathing room. I don't know.
Well, I feel like we're educated as a society more than we were at one point because at one I don't remember that because I had Yahoo, Google since I can remember, but not Google, Yahoo, and then Google came along when I was like 14. You were 7. Okay, about that.
Right.
But Yahoo was around, so I used to Yahoo, if you want to call it,
Yeah.
Yahoo things and find out things from
Mm-hmm.
the internet. So I don't know before that how people would do it, but I know it
Right.
was probably not. You didn't have the web for you to. Oh, let me see how to. I don't know. I don't know. Like if a girl is bleeding and she doesn't know what that is, she can Google it and see find out what's going on. Or you as a teenager, as a boy, you're
Right.
finding things about your body your parents don't want to talk about. You can go online and find out what's going on. So I feel like there's a
Exactly.
lot more um, ways of finding, you know, I don't know, answering your
Well,
questions.
what I remember back in the day, like the internet was restricted, as it should be for children. But back in the day when I was like a young child, my parents had like a human sexuality like book from like the 70s, like
Oh
in a
God.
bookshelf downstairs, like buried. And I like always remembered that it was there and I was always curious about it. And that shit was full of lies. I was like, what is this?
Oh
It
my
was
God.
talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. And, um,
Like
now
what?
we have, well, I just remember this one section that just really confused me. Uh, because because it was talking about masturbation, but it was saying to use a large squash,
What?
a large squash, and
To
I was
on
like,
your penis?
yeah, or like a watermelon or something, and I was like, it was
Oh, the
like telling me to use
grapefruit.
fruit.
Oh, they were ahead of time.
No, this was before the grapefruit challenge. No. So yeah, I never figured it out, and so I felt kind of discouraged. But that was just my experience with like old school information versus now you're on the internet, you Google anything and you can find like articles for better for worse. You can find a variety of information at least.
Well, those 70s books, I don't know why your parents had that, first of all, because,
I don't know either. It
oh
was
my
like the
God.
only sexy book they had in the house. Like,
Oh God. Well, I mean, as a teenager, I went to school in Miami and they had sex education in school. It was awkward, but at least they
wow.
talked about it. But I already knew. I already knew all of that. I didn't need any of it. Um, but they had sex ed, which was, for some, I don't know, kids that don't know
Right.
that. But I started having sex when I was 12. So,
Right.
for me, I already knew what was what and what I should be doing with it.
Right.
So,
Would you, I mean, that's, yeah. Yeah. And that's like, yeah, for me it was, you know, younger than older generations would say is too young. And I don't know, it's changing, and that's what I mean, for better for worse. It's like, we don't know where we're going. We have all of these things. The new moon, this full moon is coming up, 12 12 12. It's like we have a lot of stuff going on, and it's going in all kinds of directions at this point.
well, we're evoluting as a society. I mean, we're discovering animal abuse. It's being exposed through the internet. Human abuse, and I feel like it's so much better than because back in the day, I don't know, back in, let's say, in the 80s, they probably didn't know things. Children labor, that they were tied to a machine in China, to work 24 hours and make the sweaters that we wear. Now
Yeah.
those things are being exposed. Like we are finding out about those
Yes.
things. We are
Yes.
finding out about animal cruelty. So people are becoming more
Yes.
vegan and less into
Yes.
leather. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
people are changing how they see. Obviously, there are the crazy people. If you're born crazy, you're going to be crazy. If you're born a sociopath, they're going to be a sociopath. I mean, you're not going to
Right.
change. But for the
Right.
normal people who don't know these things,
The normal
you
people,
know,
aka the weird people from the past generations, they would say we're crazy, we're the weirdos, we're the freaks, you know.
right.
But
And now you understand them, why they are a certain way.
they were the crazy people all along.
Hmm.
Well, that is a good deal. I'm glad things. Yeah, I do agree things are changing. I think a lot of people need to sort of die off
I
because
mean, the baby boomers.
I don't want to target any sort of age range because there's a lot of different types of people from every time.
Of course.
However, I do think the old guard needs to just go into the ground.
No, no, not into the ground. I would say out of politics. Out of fucking politics. Why
Well,
do
that's not
we
going to
have
happen. They don't
no?
want
But
that. So,
that's the thing. Why do we have this? Like, for you to become the president of the United States, there is a certain age limit, right? There's an age requirement for
yeah,
you
it's like
to
in your
be.
30s.
Oh, in
I
your
think it's in your
thirties. That
30s, so you would
oh,
be
okay.
eligible. I think it's 36.
Well, no, I wouldn't because I wasn't born here. But
Wait. Oh,
yeah.
wait. Do you have 6 birth certificates like a true
I'm like Obama.
like
Maybe I
my
could
mom?
become.
Oh shit.
I'm kidding.
Wait,
Uh,
so you said you were born where?
I was born in Brazil, girl.
Exactly.
Brazil. Yeah,
Exactly.
in the
Represent.
jungle. Hmm.
Fucking
No, but here's the thing,
Amazonian.
though. But here's the thing, though. I feel like those requirements because you only see old people in politics. Why can't the young people speak up? I feel like Cortez. I think she's amazing. She speaks the truth, and she speaks our
Hmm.
generation. She's one of the very few ones. I mean,
Yes.
everybody else is a dinosaur. Not no
Yeah.
offense to
Yeah.
older people, but I just feel like the world has changed. It's not like it used to be. You can't force beliefs on people from years ago. Things have changed. People have changed. The society has changed,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
feel like politics and religion obviously should not be people if they want to abort their child is their choice. I am is it pro-life that I am?
I don't know. I'm concerned.
No, I'm pro people's choices. I'm pro people's
Right.
choices. if
Yes.
they if they
Yes.
don't want to have
Yes.
the child, I'd rather them not have the child than the child not have a home to go to, or be mistreated, or watch their fighting and hitting each other, or
Well,
being
right.
thrown from house to
But
house.
that's just also about body politics and like policing people's bodies as well, telling you what you can and cannot do with your own body. So
Right.
that's
And I
just
feel
something we don't need.
but I feel like the older generation are more into it than our generation and the younger generation. So they need to keep that away from politics. Let people do what they want to do. It's their lives, it's their body. You know. So I don't know, but
Yeah,
that's
the
just my
choice should
belief.
be open. The choice should
Exactly.
be open.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
So
it's
yeah,
people
so that
gonna
was
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so
That
that was a
was
great conversation. We went from the 12, 12, 12 to politics to everything.
damn, and we've been talking for 40 minutes, right on time. I think
38 minutes. 38
38
minutes.
minutes and 40 seconds. All right, so
Yeah, yeah. So that was good. Yeah.
awesome.
All
So
right, Jesse J. It was great talking to you.
Jesse J up in
Yeah.
this signing out. We're out of
Well,
here.
let's keep
W-
this going, and I'll talk to you via text message in five seconds. Bye.
Exactly. Bye.